Welcome to Baby Boomer Tales. My name's Jim. Thank you for riding along today on this first week in February. You can find us at babyboomertales.com. Once you've arrived at our webpage, there are links to our Boomers General Store, podcast links where you can hear Baby Boomer Tales. You can link to Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and many more. Well, yesterday was our 6th birthday here at Baby Boomer Tales.
Happy birthday, Jim.
February 4th, 2019 we started this puppy. What a long, strange trip it has turned out to be. Hey, Pop, what are you doing today? Homer, why you ask me that? We've been hanging around working here at the store for 3 hours, and now you ask me how I am today? You should have said that this morning. Should have said, "Good morning, Pop. How are you today?" And I'd answered something like, "I'm fine, Homer. How are you?" But instead, you just grunt and drink that grape knee-high instead of cup of coffee like a normal person. Pop, I don't like coffee. Well, I kind of like coffee. I like when you put that cream, that cream, and there's different flavors of that cream, and you put about 3/4 of a cup in there, and then you put a little coffee. I kind of like that, Pop. Homer, that's just messed up. You drink your coffee black like a man, not that grape soda. That's grape knee-high, Pop. That's a staple of my diet. I like it. It likes me. I like it. Well, Homer, to each their own, I guess. Pop, I've been meaning to ask you. It's come to my attention, Pop, that you are getting older. How old are you, Pop? Homer, I'm 68. I'll be 69 my next birthday. It's 1982, None of us are getting any younger. That's a fact, Pop. I agree. What am I? I think I'm 38. I got to ask Katie. She knows. Homer, you're the same age as Katie. Yes, you're 38. No, you're 36. I don't even know what I'm talking about. Hanging around you too much, Homer. Yeah, Pop, we're 2 peas in a pea pod. Our song of the week is Truckin' by the Grateful Dead. It first appeared on their 1970 album, American Beauty. This great song was written by Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir, Phil Lesh, and Robert Hunter, all part of the Dead. It's about a drug raid at the band's hotel lodging in New Orleans. Busted down on Bourbon Street, set up like a bowling pin. Later, they edited this song down from 5 minutes to 3 minutes to make it into a single. Knocked down, it gets to wearing thin. It just won't let you be. As I get older and older, I find that there are things that make me shake my head, and that I do and say things that make me shrug my shoulders. And I see myself as I'm out in public and wonder, who is that old coot? Now, I don't really feel old sometimes. Sometimes I do. But I'm going to go over some stuff here that if you would have told me when I was in my 20s I'd be experiencing some of this, I would say that you were tripped out. I have a cousin, she just went to Singapore, showed some family pictures. I hear that may be the nicest, cleanest country in the world. But I wouldn't know because I've never been there. I do get people that listen from Singapore, though. So possibly English is spoken there quite a bit. Of course, is that what I speak? I don't think I truly speak English. I think it's more along the lines of somewhere in Americana around the Ozarks. I think that's what my language is. But I do know the difference between THERE, THEIR, and THEY apostrophe RE. There. Yeah, I know that. I do. Okay, let me get started here. You don't want to hear all my... Do you want to hear my stuff? I mean, like, the words here and here, stuff like that. No, you don't want to hear that. Okay, let me see. I've got a list here. Let me go over some of this and maybe you can all relate. Let me start with my favorite part of growing older, and that is ear hair. Where does that stuff come from? I read something today about your hormones. You get more of them or less of them, or they go crazy or something. Anyway, hair growing out of your ears. With women, maybe hair growing on their chin, you gotta pluck that hair. Stuff like that. That's all caused by some kind of hormone aging. And I guess we all have hormones. I used to think that was just a lady thing, but I don't think so. I think we all have it. It's a human thing. Maybe it's a mammal thing. I don't know. But that hair in the ears. Now, my barber, they cut it out of there with their clippers, and that's nice. And they do my eyebrows, because without that, I would look like a Scottish dog with earmuffs on. That's what I would look like, Scotty with earmuffs. It is crazy. When I was younger, I played golf with old Dan. He was a dear friend of mine, but he was quite a bit older than me, older than my dad even. And he was one of my golfing buddies, and he had those Scotty eyebrows. Now, he must have told the barber, don't cut those. That's my trademark or something like that. Dan was a wonderful guy. He was just absolutely wonderful. He gave me some of the best advice one time when I was down on my dad. When I thought my dad didn't know much. And I was, in my 30s at the time. I was old enough to know better. And Dan set me straight. Thank you, Dan. How about bedtime? I have found myself going to bed earlier and earlier. In fact, I am not looking forward to summer coming because it'll still be light when I go to bed. And I just can't do that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably wait till dark to go to bed and wake up later. I got out of bed today at 5. As I find myself going to bed earlier and earlier, I kid my wife and I kid her saying, I don't want to turn into Uncle Jim. I had an uncle named Jim. Him and my Aunt Donna were so wonderful. They really were. There's a big spot in my heart for those two. But I think towards the end of Uncle Jim's life, he was going to bed about 4:30. I remember him telling me that once. And I looked at him like, what is wrong with you, Uncle Jim? Gosh, now I can see how that could happen. Because he was older than I am now when he told me that. And there's times at 6 o'clock at night, I fight not getting up out of the chair and going to bed. I mean, it's been dark for a while here in February, in the winter, at night. So that's my kind of mantra. I don't want to turn into Uncle Jim. And yet, if people regard me how I regard my Uncle Jim, I think I will have a life well lived. Miss you, Jim and Donna. I do. Where am I here? How about some of the sayings we have, like, I've got to go get the film developed. Can you imagine going to the drugstore or wherever, dropping off a couple of those canisters of film and waiting at least 3 days? I guess in the city they have those drive-up things. You could drop your film off and get it back in an hour or something. but 3 days, 4 or 5 days before you get back to the drugstore. And then you could look at the 12 pictures or 24, and half of them are blurry or you got your thumb over something or something. It's nothing like, well, cameras today, but I think we all use our phones more than anything. That's what I do. I have not used my camera for quite a while. How about finding a payphone? Do those even exist? I think I went over this once before, but do they exist? Can you find a payphone? How much would it cost if you found one? They used to be a dime. I think they went up to a quarter last time I saw one. I remember when they were a nickel. Those old phone booths up in my little hometown in north central Colorado Rocky Mountains. You go into a phone booth at night and it can be quite cold. I just saw a weather report for a town 10 miles from my hometown, and they predict day after tomorrow that it'll be 37 below. Now I've seen it hit 50 below, and I've heard of 60 below, but 37 is pretty chilly. Last cold spell I can remember living up there, it was 40-some below, and the house sounded like somebody was hitting the outside with a sledgehammer from the contraction of, I guess, the building. Man. Rewind or fast forward. Remember that? You have a VCR or something. Now that term is not dead with me because I use DVR and I'll fast forward it or rewind it or pause it. I saw a whole Monk show the other day. You ever see that TV show? He called it freeze. The mail. I've got to deal with the mail. I have several friends, very good friends that work for the U.S. Postal Service, but they're getting crazy. This last snow, they wouldn't send me my mail. I get an email every day saying what mail I'm supposed to get. It's weird. They're trying to help everybody keep their jobs because nobody does anything with the mail. But lately, I'll get this email that says I get 2 pieces of junk mail and nothing shows up. But my wife found a stamp the other day, unused. Say we have a dozen stamps. That could be a lifetime supply of stamps. Roll down the window. Remember those old cranks? You roll down the window. That was really hard to roll down the window on the passenger side if you're the only person in the car and you're driving. Don't touch that dial. When's the last time you touched your TV? When's the last time you listened to a radio? I never listen. I have a radio in my truck, but I never listen to it, never turn it on. Don't touch that dial. There's a commercial coming. I was looking at different barbers just out of curiosity. $30 for a haircut now. Where I go is still 19. Can you imagine for a $2 haircut? That's what Uncle Cliff charged, I think, $2. $30 for a haircut? But supply and demand, try cutting your own hair. I was in Sam's Club the other day and I finish up shopping, going through the potato chip aisle, and then I'm out the door. I do self-checkout and I'm out the door after I do the chips. And I was trying to decide, do I want wavy chips or regular chips? And this lady came up to me and said, do you have to buy 2 bags of chips at a time? And I looked at her and I looked at the little sign that told the prices, and a bunch of them were on sale, 50 cents off, so the color of the sign is different than the regular white sign, it's yellow or something. And I said, I don't think so. Why? She says, well, I need to know if I have to buy 2. And I read one of them to her, and it said 50 cents off in the price. And I said, it doesn't say anything about this price is for 2 of them, or you have to buy 2 to get this price, or any of that. And she quizzed me again. And she was real nice and real polite and wasn't a bum or anything and didn't appear to, have lost anything. It's just that the potato chips were intimidating her for whatever reason. She must have had it in her mind or saw it somewhere that you had to buy 2. And that wasn't the case. Not with the chips that we were standing in front of. But I'm used to little old ladies, and when I say little old ladies, most of these gals I'm sure are younger than me, asking me to get something off the top shelf at the grocery store or can I get this out of the way or something? Most people are very, very nice about it. You better hurry and get me now if you want me to get something off the top shelf. I have been 6 foot tall since I was 15 or 16. Well, every holiday season, right around Christmas to New Year's, right in there, I take all the grandkids and we go downstairs and I measure them against this one doorpost and mark it and date it and say who it is. And so they talked me into doing it this year. And I did it maybe, 10 years ago. I have lost an inch. They've been telling me that when I visit the doc, that I'm 5'11" and not 6 feet. And I tell them they're crazy. I've always been 6 feet and I always will. And now I think I'm 5'11". Oh my goodness gracious, what's becoming of me? But that's nothing, I'm not fat, I'm not. But I'm not really skinny anymore. More skinny than I am fat maybe. But looking at myself in the mirror, I could use a man's ear. I guess it's gravity. Now, if you want to know what a man's ear is, maybe you ought to watch all the Seinfeld episodes till you run across that one. Just picture a bra's ear for a man. Man's ear. Yeah. Don't laugh. If you're a man, you probably need one too. Well, that's it. Me and my man's ear. Is there even such a thing? If not, I should invent it. Of course, they probably have a copyright on it or something from Seinfeld. That was a funny show. Gotta scoot. Don't pollute. It's been fun this week. 6 years. I can hardly believe it. Always be kind. It's the best way. You know it is. I'll be back next Wednesday. Peace out.